Organized by Fitsol. Good good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah,
Hello, am I
Madan.
audible to? Yes, sir. So we'll start around 4 or 4:02. We have just wait 2 or 3 minutes. So just we're waiting. Another person are joining. Hi, good evening, everyone. So we're starting this session, and people are still joining. So let them join. So a very good evening to everyone. A warm welcome to another session under Fitsol Net Zero Bharat Initiative. Today's topic is towards a net zero path, decarbonizing automotive supply chain with Kyoto. Since automobile sector is one of the main contributor into the scope 3 part. My name is Arman Ahmad and I lead partnership at Fitsol. As we know, India's automotive and transport sector contribute over 13% of country's total CO2 emission. And that's account for more than 25% of India's energy consumption in the transport sector. According to Niti Aayog report, optimizing logistics, vehicle utilization, and packaging system is, is key to achieving up to 20 to 30% emission reduction across supply chain. With India targeting net zero by 2070 and global regulators emphasizing scope 3 emission reporting, companies are increasingly expected to track, disclose, and reduce carbon emissions across their entire value chain. Today's session will showcase practical pathways to decarbonize supply chain faster and smarter, including through our Kyoto, that is our emission tracking platform, and our green packaging asset design tool, which enable greener, cost-efficient, and packaging decisions for better scope 3 calculation and further step. Today we are joined by net zero mentors. First is Sidharth Sekhar, he is AGM strategy. And second is Onkar Madan, he is a senior product manager at Fitsol. And also, if you have any question, please free to share your question in the chat box. We will have a question answer round at the last of this session where we can take your question and our mentor will give your answer. So now I would like to invite Sidharth to take this forward and move this ahead. Sidharth, over to you.
Thanks a lot for this, Ahmad. Very happy that you can do a session like this with folks from the automotive sector or folks who want to decarbonize, right? Let me not hold up a lot of that and let me walk right into it so that you can go into the content and the reason why they come up. I'm just sharing my screen. Please do let me know if you're able to view it. Yeah,
Yes,
Arman,
yes, it
visible?
is visible. Yes.
Yeah. So just please do bear with me for a minute or two. We just talk about who we are as a company. So Fitsol is a decarbonization as a service platform. We enable three things for our manufacturing clients and even the automotive space. One is we drive profit and loss wins for them through our green initiatives. Second is we future-proof their business. If you have national or international clients, a lot of the OEMs are moving towards green supply chain and logistics. They're also moving towards net zero, which means the future is going to be this, and we enable that. Finally, it's going to be a sector that's going to be heavily regulated nationally and internationally. Arman rightly pointed out, India has a 2070 target, but currently there are two main regulatory mechanisms that you need to be aware of. One is the BRSR reporting, which is going to mandate top companies to post about their value chain emissions also. So lots of tier one OEMs who have major presence are going towards measuring and reporting their value chain emissions and trying to reduce emissions from their supply chain. The second part is what you call the CCTS mechanism. India is coming up with its own set of emission trading system. We have one set of industries, 8 industries in set one, but automotive is going to be in the set two in the next year, year and a half. That is going to be a sector that is going to be highly regulated. You need compliance requirements, and hence we enable that for our clients, right? Uh, Considering, few people here are new based on whatever we understood from the, pre-form that we created. Just a small overview of what is the problem with global CO2 emissions. One, what are CO2 and greenhouse gases? They are basically your carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbons, fluorocarbons, which basically get emitted by different activities that we do as humans. Uh, so what essentially happens is these go into the air. They trap heat, which means there is global warming. It causes extreme weather events, raising sea levels, endangering everyone. But from purely a monetary perspective, right, it's poised to cost somewhere close to $178 billion in the next 3 decades, which is the reason why you're seeing regulations. There is loss of monetary value. There is also loss of inconvenience to people or loss of lives owing to these things. Uh, the other thing which we wanted to also break down in a very nuanced way is what are greenhouse gas emissions. They are basically segregated into three categories, which is scope one, scope two, and scope three. Scope one is something where you can call emissions from your own operations, be it your own vehicles, be it your own facility, etc. Scope two is something where you purchase electricity, purchase steam, purchase cooling, your emissions from those purchases. But the bigger piece of any company which is in the automotive space or predominantly in the manufacturing space in the world is what you can call scope three, which takes close to 75 to 80% of your emissions. They call it upstream and downstream emissions, which means emissions basically arising from your supply chain partners. It could be in the form of fleet movement of theirs, it could be in the form of assets that they own, it could be in the form of waste that they are generating, etc. Right? Each one has its own set of different number of subcategories, but just gives a overlying view of what these emissions break down are. Yeah, right. Before we move on to what is it that we can also offer, we also wanted to give you guys a flavor of what is happening globally. More often than not, what is happening globally is going to follow suit in India, right? And it's not only following suit. Right now, these changes are happening, but purely from a perspective of international companies doing it, something like a BMW Group, they are decarbonizing their entire upstream supply, right? What is the challenge that they are looking at? Close to over 70% of emissions come from their materials and supplier production, which is basically their value chain. They also realize that steel, aluminum, battery materials are major hotspots to them, and this nuanced insight comes only if you start collecting data from your supply chain, right? So they went through that exercise. They also realized that they had limited supplier data, as I rightly communicated in the previous point. So they went about creating carbon dioxide key criteria for supplier selection, right? This is a trend that we are starting to see with major Tier 1 OEMs in India also, and other manufacturing players, where there is starting for preference for green suppliers. They also created a green steel, recycled aluminum, and green battery inputs. As far as their supply chain is concerned, they created regulations and policies that mandated their own company to go towards this. They promoted circular design. And FYI, they ensured that all of these initiatives did not cost them any extra money. In fact, it actually reduced their cost. Sustainability is always a game where there is reduced cost when you enable it in the right way. So that is a major thing. So if you can look at it from an impact perspective, 24% cut in the upstream emissions per vehicle, uh, save close to 2 million tons of CO2 via low carbon materials, and they are actually on track to look at 40% value chain emissions per vehicle reduction, right? If you just move on to the next slide, right? How are they enabling these and what are the key levers that they are doing? As I had already communicated a glimpse of it in the previous slide, they initially enabled a supplier contract with CO2 reduction clauses, which means any supplier that they're going to touch, they stated that we want a supplier who's much more greener. They started sourcing materials with low carbon inputs, right? If you're going to produce steel, then I want your electricity to be much more greener. It could be through the form of captive solar. It could be in the form of scrap going into that metal. It could be in the form of a power purchase agreement. They also started enabling product carbon footprint, which essentially means that if they are producing a part, if the supplier is producing a part, then that part essentially the supplier has to give something called a product carbon footprint, which means what is the emissions associated with that part. Next thing, they also realized a large part of their supplier base did not have knowledge or due diligence to do this. So they created initiatives where training was done across their value chain globally so that they can enable this. And finally, they ensured transparency and target setting, right? They said, we will look at this target, and they move towards this target in a very transparent manner, and also ensuring their supply chain partners comply for this, right? So one of the companies which we thought are doing a fantastic job at supply chain decarbonization is BMW. The second thing, which is our own brand to an extent, that we believe Tata Motors is also an international brand. They also realize supply chain makes up close to 20x of their emissions, right? They lack the data systems or decarbonization know-how, so they went about rolling this green supply chain framework across their tier one and tier two suppliers. They offered, similar to a BMW case, they offered training, they offered templates for their key suppliers. They promoted clean energy, they promoted local sourcing, they promoted circularity policies, they promoted the transparency, right? If you look at it from an impact perspective, 30% rise in supplier renewable energy use across their value chain, which means decarbonization initiatives were impact. Along with that, cost reductions were also enabled, right? So the byproduct of that is 12 to 15% lower energy related to carbon dioxide emissions at pilot plants that they are looking at, and they are very much on track to go towards their net zero target, which they've quoted to be somewhere close to 2045, right? So how are Tata Motors also enabling it? Large renewable energy projects. They're moving towards renewable energy projects for themselves. They are promoting this and looking at suppliers who are moving towards RE-based projects. They are looking at energy conservation, fuel switching, and design efficiency. If you have plants, then they are looking at using a coal or polluting source of fuel. They are now starting to prefer or move towards players who are using alternative fuels like biobriquettes and other science-based fuels, which ensure there is reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. And the third thing, which they are also trying to enable, or they are enabling, is design efficiencies, right? AI-powered energy efficiency management within their plants, so that you can look at energy saving, which in turn will reduce emissions, right? But another key piece across the value chain is also the returnable packaging and waste avoidance practice, right? If you look at it, transportation and logistics, or upstream and downstream transportation itself is a major chunk of your greenhouse gas emissions for automotive supply chain, right? So packaging design and how you are moving the parts across different factories from tier two supplier to tier one supplier to your OEM, that is a big challenge, right? So they are looking at returnable packaging, waste management across their plants so that they can ensure greenhouse gas emissions are reduced and cost reductions can simultaneously be enabled, right? The third case study, which is the final one, this will be in a different format where there is a challenge solution impact. But the next slide will talk about where is it that companies like Volkswagen is moving towards, and where is it that even Indian or international automotive clients will be moving towards, right? Volkswagen and ThyssenKrupp Steel, they wanted to move towards green steel as a company because they realized that steel is one of the major components in an automotive vehicle. And they said, you know what, we want to stop this. Let us go towards green steel, right? So they realized how much steel accounts for in the life cycle of that automotive plant. Their traditionally steel production is highly carbon intensive. If you look at any different types of documents or reports, they say it's a hard to abate sector, steel, cement, etc. So steel is definitely a hard to abate sector. That is the second challenge. Third challenge is reducing scope 3 emissions requires low carbon material sourcing. What do we mean by that is whatever materials your tier 1 or tier 2 suppliers are getting, that also has to be less emitting, which means scrap has to go in. How you're generating that steel has to be the process of it needs few interventions, and this is where the challenge was. So Volkswagen went towards signing a memorandum of understanding for low carbon steel. Uh, they went about sourcing this, and from 2028, Volkswagen is going to look at less emitting vehicles compared to their contemporaries or competitors, right? So this directly reduces scope 3 emissions, enables production of green vehicles, right? From a perspective of where you see this trend moving towards, right? If you look at it, material production is 30 to 40%, end of life is 5 to 10%, use phase of those emissions 25 to 30%, logistics and packaging, this is subject to Volkswagen. Somewhere close to 10 to 15% is where they're pegging it at, right? So a large part of your emissions across the value chain of an automotive is going to be in that LNP place. It is going to be with the supply chain, which is where there's got to be impetus on production, right? So this is exactly what global players are looking at it. As far as Fitsol is concerned, one aspect is this. Second is we were looking at it from a perspective of first principles thinking and where is it that you can reduce those emissions, right? Uh, Across our working, we've realized a GHG savings potential of 30 to 40%, the cost savings of 6 to 8%. Right from deploying your EVs wherever feasible in the last mile or mid-mile, we work on AI-driven route and load optimization, where the supply chain part can actually ensure that you reduce the number of trips, you ensure that the trips are sorted so that you don't make multiple trips. Emissions monitoring and compliance is a key part of it. You want to do real-time emissions tracking with AI-powered insights. Probably Onkar, when he's doing the product demo, you will see how AI is being used in certain cases within our packaging and design tool, which is one part of it. Then you look at safe, efficient, and transport operations, right? Right from vehicle audits to route surveys to journey planning across, right? Where is it that you're placing your warehouses? Are your warehouses green? That is a key aspect of it. And finally, we also look at enabling end-to-end distribution and reverse logistics. A large part of your logistics is contingent on your packaging, especially your reverse logistics, because if you can optimize for your packaging, then you can also optimize for your distribution and your vehicle movement, which is a thing that gets enabled, right? Packaging solutions at the fulcrum of it, we look at it as FLC and PLS packaging, your full load containers or pallet load services tailored to client needs because every client's part differs. So we look at it from a perspective of FLC and PLS packaging. We also ensure that any kind of export packaging that we do that is compliant with where it's being exported, be it Europe or be it US, depending upon where the material is being exported to. Third is mostly sustainable materials, right? While doing the packaging, you want the materials to be eco-friendly, you want it to be reusable, you want to ensure from a comparative of where we were, these materials are not as high emitting. So sourcing the right material, we have an in-house team that kind of looks at taking care of all of these and sorts these out. And this is something that a lot of players can do while the industry is moving towards. Uh, Finally, of course, is warehouse management. So we are looking at pan warehouse management as a source. We enable green warehouses wherever it's feasible. We look at talent, we look at operational excellence so that streamlining a lot of your supply chain and logistics ensures that we move towards the right green goals, right? From a solutions perspective, very similar approach. We look at assessment, then we look at designing custom logistics and packaging solutions, a part of it which you will see a demo from Onkar in the product. Then we look at deploying it in a phased out manner, where we roll out certain technological integrations. Then we optimize on those solutions that are deployed, because after pilot, we want to look at a larger piece where we look at GHG reduction and also P&L wins or cost reduction for those clients so that together this becomes a potent weapon so that you can scale up your less emitting supply chain operations, right? So finally, followed by that, real-time access and visibility is extremely critical because what you can't track, you can't measure. What you can't measure, you can't track. So we look at real-time dashboards and compliance-ready outputs. And finally, circularity is a thing in whatever we do. Reverse logistics is a large part of it. Packaging is a large part of it, which we kind of enable. And that is exactly how we move towards the entire piece of supply chain movement, right? I think that would, I would just take a pause here. Probably think we can go on and on towards case studies and everything, but I thought Onkar Madan would be, poised now to, walk you through the product, walk you through the demo of the LNP product which is designed to enable this solution. And we will take questions probably after that. You can put in your chat. Hope that is fine. Yeah. Onkar, over to you.
Thank you, Sidharth. Thank you for helping us walk through the entire decarbonization journey. And I will just share my screen. But before sharing my screen, I would like to just mention that we are going to cover green packaging and asset design tool. So as the name suggests, green packaging, we are focusing on reusable packaging. Chandra, yeah, now it's fine. So what I was saying, so we are going to focus on green packaging asset design tool demo, right? So this tool, as the name suggests, green packaging asset design, we are going to design reusable packaging and reusable packaging, as Siddharth showed you, PLS, we have FLCs, we have crates, we have PP boxes. So our tool will give you a recommendation based on your needs, based on your auto parts. Our tool will give the best recommendation possible in terms of the outer box and the inserts and separators which will go inside it. We will help you design the insert and separators which will go inside it, right? And why we are building it? So currently in market, how all this recommendation and insert and separator design happens, that is totally based on manual just a second, there's a little bit disturbance over here. Just a second. I don't know how unpin. Anyways, let me just share my screen and follow up on that. Yeah, so where I was, so why we have actually built this tool, the reason is currently in market, uh, outer box recommendation and insert and separator design is done by packaging engineers, and based on their knowledge experience they manually design insert and separators and also recommend the outer box. But what we are doing over here, we have built this entire tool and it is driven by various LLM models and AI driven technology, and it recommends the best outer box so that it is as much as optimal in terms of space utilization, right? So the empty space in the outer box should be as less as possible. That is our goal. And as many auto parts should go in the outer box, in one outer box, as much as possible. So that is the goal. So if you look at our North Star metrics, which is the main thing that we are targeting, we are actually reducing the transportation cost of one auto part. So per auto part cost, we are reducing over here. And if we are decreasing that cost, we are also decreasing emission as well. So basically, if I'm saying that currently we were taking 100 parts in a corrugated box, but with my solution, you will be able to take 120 parts, right? So consequently, we have decreased emission as well, and we have also decreased cost per part as well. So when I say emission, that is per part emission, right? Arman, Siddharth, is it fine? Like you can hear me and my screen is visible, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Go for it.
Cool, 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 cool. So yeah, so this is a tool, and you can easily access it from our website. We will just launch it after this call. So I can share this URL with the folks who are present in this call, and you can also share your valuable feedbacks. Let me just help you go through this entire tool. One thing I missed to inform you that one of the major problem in logistics and packaging is that truckload, sometimes what happens is that the truck which is being used for transportation, it has a lot of empty space, or the boxes which are part of that truck, they are not properly oriented, which leads to wastage in terms of space. And if we optimize it somehow, due to some if we are able to optimize it somehow, we can utilize that space and we can maybe put more auto parts or more outer boxes in that truck, right? So this is that solution which I was mentioning. So it is coming soon. By next week we will be releasing it, but for now I'm going to give a demonstration of the outer box recommendation and insert and separator design. So I will click on start designing packaging, and initially we are just asking you your official email ID and mobile number. This is just for accessing this tool. You can share that credentials, and then you will be able to access this user interface. So we have three different steps. Step one is to design outer box. Over here, the result of this step would be that you will get a recommended, most optimal recommended outer box. Then we will design inserts and separators, and then maximize truckload. This is the upcoming feature. And to be very precise, like if we do all step one and step two manually per design, it will take at least 2 hours to 3 days based on complexity, and that is how it is being done in real world these days. There are different players as well who provide certain softwares, like we have SolidWorks, we have Fusion 360, but all these tools, like all these software vendors, they have tools as well, but they are 3D modeling tools, right? So they will help you model a outer box, or they will help you model a certain auto part, but none of the tool in the market gives outer box recommendation, right? So we are providing recommendation over here, and that is how we are different from them. And we are also providing insert and separator design, right? And our third feature, which is maximize truckload, that is totally based on the Indian market. So we have the database of Indian trucks which are generally used in India, and we are building our entire engine on Indian truck data, right? All these tools which I have referred, they are like non-Indian, most of them, and they don't have that much of data related to India. Right. So let us first go through a step one. And yeah, so with each step, I will ask you if you have any question before going on to the next step. If you have any question on a particular step, you can just maybe ask me. And so let me just go through this first step and help you how you can use this tool. So first of all, we are going to add auto part detail. And when I say auto part, I'm currently focusing on automobile industry, but this tool can also be used in different industries. The only thing is we are generating or designing a B2B packaging for parts, right? So this one is for automobile industry, but you can use this software for any other industry as well, where products are moving from one location to manufacturer or from vendor to an OEM. So this is for B2B movement, not for a B2C movement. Uh, Okay. So first of all, we need to enter size of our auto part, right? So length, width, height, and we are going to take the longest dimension of each. When I say longest dimension, so an auto part could have a length, like a variable length around one face. It could be like bigger from a particular edge and then shorter from the other edge, or it could have a curvature, right? So we are going to take the maximum length and maximum width and height. So I will randomly take 300 length and width. Let us take some easier numbers for now, so that we can also figure out whether the calculation was coming out to be correct or not. And weight, let us take 2 kg. So I have already entered auto part parameters, length, dimension and weight, and then I have to just confirm whether fragility is low, If it is low, then it is already selected. I can also select medium or high. How fragility impacts and what fragility is. So a high fragile item could be like a windshield or a mirror, right? Which is like a very, very high fragile item, right? And low fragile item could be like a tire or alloy wheel or something, which is if you throw it will not break, right? Not break easily, I would say, right? So that information we have to enter over here, and then handling details is required. Handling details is first one is whether stacking of parts is allowed within outer box. So FLC is like maybe I can just compare it with a small washing machine or a washing machine. I would say it is very big and it would have different layers as well. And one layer will have all the auto parts, then the other layer also will have an auto part or all the auto parts, and they all these layers will be stacked one over the another, and they will be separated with a separator, right? So there will be a flat sheet called separator and then insert and then separator and then insert. That is how it works, right? And our goal is also like, of course, because auto parts are getting transported from location A to B, and you know how Indian roads are, right? So we also need to make sure that none of the auto parts rub against each other. I mean that they should be safe and we need to prevent them from damage. That is one of the goal, right? Currently, like 5 to 8% is the rate of damage in current packaging solutions which are in market, but we are like we want to decrease that further, right? So stacking, whether it is allowed or not, you can just mention it. Uh, by default, the check mark is enabled. And then availability of forklift is also a very important parameter for our engine. So forklift availability, I've also marked it yes, that forklift is available in my warehouse, right? If forklift is not available, then of course my recommendation will give you solution which can be maybe handled by a man, right? It can be manually handled. But if forklift is there, of course, huge boxes like an FLC or a PLS can be used, right? And then we have orientation restriction. So I'll tell you how orientation restriction or how orientation can help us transport more parts in same amount of space. So sometimes what happens, if I'm putting all my auto parts with height standing, like their height is upright, maybe I'm able to transport, maybe in a box I'm able to transport 100 parts. Okay, but let us suppose if I'm able to maybe lie them down, right? And if I'm just not, they are not standing upright, but now they are lying on lying flat, I would say. And then if I'm lying all the auto parts flat, then maybe I'm able to add more auto parts in my entire outer box. So earlier it could be 100. I'm just giving you a random example. Earlier it was 100 and now it could be 110, right? So that could be a case, and that is how orientation can help us increase number of auto parts transported per shipment, right? So first of all, we are optimizing it for a box, and then we will optimize it for an entire shipment. So over here, we need to provide and restriction. If there is any restriction, we need to mention it over here. With restriction, I mean, so let us suppose there is an auto part which has oil in it, right? I cannot lie that auto part flat. That will always go with its height standing, right? It will always go upright. So that is what is we are asking the user over here. So if there is any restriction, we need to mention like height should be standing. That is the restriction that I've added, and selected orientations will be considered during packaging design. So only this orientation is what we will consider if I am putting a restriction. Okay. Now, for now, maybe I can go with none of the restriction, or maybe length or width standing restriction. Okay. So that is fine. And I can just click on generate outer box recommendation. Let me click that. It will take few seconds because there's an engine running behind it. Yeah. So we have a recommended outer box PLS. Its weight limit is 500 kg. Box cost is 12,500 and foldability is 0.3. The foldability is used when we will like these are reusable asset, right? So when they will come back to the vendor warehouse, so foldability will help. Like while going, maybe 100 boxes will go, but while coming back, 300 PLS boxes will come back. So that This information is mentioned over here, and why we have recommended this recommendation is also shared in these points. And if you want a more customized solution, if you're not confident about it, you can always contact Fitsol. Just click on this link and you can provide your name, company name, email ID, phone number, any message, and one of the member from Fitsol will help you out with this tool or will provide you a more customized solution. We have a team of highly trained packaging engineers, so they will further help you and they will use this tool. They have expertise in packaging, good amount of experience in this industry, right? So let us suppose if you are not happy with our solution, you can also create your own. You can add your own custom box from here, right? You can add a box. Maybe we recommended a PLS, but you're not happy with a PLS. You want to go with a foldable crate. You can add that over here. You can add certain these dimensions, and you can add the outer box, and we will help you with insert design and separator design, right? So we can do that as well, right? So now I'm going on to the next step, step two. Before that, before going to step two, anyone has any question, any doubt on what we are doing, anything related to step one? Let me know if you have any question.
Go forward.
Cool, cool.
Yeah, I think we have somebody called Madhuri Agarwal asking a question. So
Okay.
Madhuri, if you want to type it, it would be great.
I have this question about the material of the packaging. So on the screen in step one, I'm not able to see where we can go and select the packaging material, whether it's a wooden crate or it's a different kind of material.
Fair enough. Very valid question. So for now, what we have done, we have narrowed down to four major outer boxes which are used in the market, like because they were covering 80% of the cases. In future, we will add more boxes like wooden boxes, metallic crates or metallic boxes as well, or nested boxes as well. Right now, we are giving recommendation out of four boxes. First is FLC, PLS, then we have crate, foldable crate, and PP box. So we have functionality for recommendation for only these four boxes for now, but in future, in next version of this product, we will add those as well.
And what is the maximum dimension? Is it same for all the four material types, or it varies from one material to another material?
Yeah, it will vary. In PLS itself, we have four types of variation in height, and in FLC as well, we have four types of variation in height, and then width as well. We have one variation in width for both PLS and FLC. So I will show you once we have crossed step two, we will get different, like this is one recommendation, but we will also get other recommendations as well. This is the most feasible and most optimal recommendation. That is why this is shown as the shown over here. But in the later state, we will also get other options. If you're not happy with it, you can go with the other one. Does that help?
Yes, move ahead, Onkar. Next.
Okay,
Step.
sure. Thank you for asking that question. So I will go ahead and click on generate insert design. So while we are when I have clicked on insert design, so in the backend, my algorithm is checking the orientation of parts. So it is going through different combinations where it is checking parts orientation at length standing. Then it is also checking at height standing, and then at width standing, it will also check. So what is happening over there? As I told you, orientation is one of the most important thing, and manually figuring out orientation of auto parts in an outer box, it's like very tricky. Like maybe someone who's doing it manually, he will try one or two cases, right? But what we are doing, we are checking it on lens standing, like we are putting all the auto parts in lens standing, and then we are trying to figure out how many auto parts will come inside that outer box, which is the PLS. In previous stage, we got that recommendation. We can also add a custom box as well. So based on that, based on lens standing, we can only have 108 parts. But if I rotate my length to 90-degree, I can have 120 parts in the same box. So this is the key in logistics. Even if I'm able to improve, like even if I'm able to decrease empty space by maybe 5%, there would be huge profit would be huge, and I would be able to save cost, maybe I would say in more factors, right? So then we have height standing orientation. Here it comes out to be 96 parts, and then 90%, if I rotate height, it will only accommodate 90 parts. And similarly we have for width as well, right? Now this thing, like, we are checking only 6 cases for now, but later we will check more cases, and we will also check combination of all, like length and height plus width, and we will give a more better solution. So for now, if you want a better solution, you can always contact Fitsol team, and definitely someone will help you out. So I've proceeded ahead. Now I have a summarized view, and I have all the recommendations mentioned over here. So first one is a PLS, which we got in step one. Then there is another PLS that we have with another dimension, 1200 by 1000 by 1100. So all these dimensions are in millimeter. And then we have the third PLS as well with another dimension. So three PLS are recommended, but the most optimal is this. And when we say most optimal, the least packaging cost per part is coming over here for this one, right? Then we also have foldable crate, and then another PLS. So this is like sorted based on packaging cost per auto part, right? So this is a 3D pattern visualization. Right now, it is not that much intuitive, I can understand, but because we had some time constraint and we were able to build only this much, of course, in next iteration, you will see more intuitive. It would be as like you are seeing a PLS yourself, and how it will look like. Like, we will show all the dimensions and everything in the 3D model itself, right? So if I toggle how the top view looks like, it looks like this. So we have a matrix of 5 by 8, right? Everything is mentioned over here as well in detail. So 5 by 8 matrix. Let me just help you with the summarized view. So total auto parts per box would be 120, inserts are 3, and separators would be 4. So, and packaging weight, which includes my box weight plus auto part weight. Auto part weight was 2 kg. So in each layer we are having 40 auto parts, and then we have 3 layers, so it comes out to be 120 multiplied by 2. So we have total weight over here, which also includes my insert and separator weight, right? Then my emission, total emission, which is my one-time emission for this box, right, in its entire life cycle, that is mentioned over here. And we have the insert details. Type would be polypropylene. PP insert is what we are proposing. And insert cost, insert weight, everything is mentioned. It should be on lens standing, all my auto parts, right? Then I have a specific cell level detail mentioned over here as well. Then moving on to separator details, it's also a PP separator, and its weight would be 1.52 kg. Cost is also mentioned. So all these details, calculating all of them manually takes some amount of time, and it is also because it is manual, so there is a chance of human error, right? We have added all these constraints and all these measurements which are required, right, in our system, and we are calculating it automatically. So chances of having these issues related to calculation is almost negligible. It's not possible, right? It could be a case that maybe one thing could be like, if even if there is an issue, we will resolve it ASAP, and calculation will be as accurate as possible, right? So that is also, I'm just thinking 1% is the case, but I'm very confident that this product is giving very accurate measurements. Right. So this was the PLS, but let us suppose if you don't want to go with this one, you want to go with a crate solution, right? Or maybe you don't have a forklift. So you want to go with a foldable crate. So this is the solution for a foldable crate. We have packaging weight. All the information is mentioned over here, and everything is visible. How the crate will look like, how the insert will go inside it, where we have to add separators. So everything is mentioned. Right. So maximize truckload, as I mentioned, is not unfortunate. It's not part of the demo this time. Maybe we will demonstrate it someday later. And all this information which you have captured over here, you can export it. You can click on export recommendation summary. For now, we are exporting it as a Excel file, but soon we are planning that we will have a better like a more UI centric report for you to export, right? So all the information, the major information that would require to create that insert separator or outer box is mentioned over here. Right. So any question anyone has, maybe I can share this URL with all of you if you think that you have some feedback, how we can improve this product better. Please reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to me anytime. You can just send me a mail. You can follow me on LinkedIn as well. So yeah, we are actually eagerly looking for your feedbacks on this one. And feel free to use it. If you have any question, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Fitsol team. Any question, anyone on the summary view or any other question related to this entire tool?
Hi, Onkar. I again have one question. So,
Mhm.
it is the material that you have just demoed. These are all plastic types. So, is there any way that tool also talks about the EPR of it?
Yeah, so we have that. We have already have thought about it. It's part of our backlog, but it's like we thought initially to launch it with PP inserts, right? Because they are majorly used in market. But I totally understand that you might have a custom requirement. In that case, I would recommend you that you can reach out to Fitsol team. So you can just click on contact Fitsol, and we will provide you with whatever customization related to insert separator or box that you want, we can provide you with that. Cool. Thanks a lot for that question. Feedback definitely taken. Anyone else? Cool. I think over to you, Arman.
Yes, thank you, Onkar. Thank you so much. So, is there any question from anyone regarding this demo or anything sustainable solution that Fitsol is doing? The purpose of this webinar is to have a mutual conversation and to just know what industry they are facing the problem. So, this is the main purpose and motto of this webinar and session. So, we can come with your questions.
Hi, this is Gopal Krishna. Can
Hi,
you
sir.
hear
Good
me?
evening. Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yeah. See, I works for an automotive designs. So in automotive, actually, I have a good experience. But the thing is, see, your packaging tool is looking for like where the part dimensions or the component dimensions will reflect in the assembly and the independent component, like in the part size. So how good it works with the assembly? Because assembly means it's a huge product of automotive line. So you are showing for a simple part. Suppose if there is a complexity in the like in the powertrain area, or it could be in the BIW, how could your automotive this packaging will work for the automotive industry?
That's a very valid and a very helpful question, I would say. So, I agree, demand at assembly line is very important to be incorporated in our product, and we are already on that way. And partially that solution is completed. And one thing that we will ask user just after he enters the dimension is that requirement at assembly line and at what cadence, at what frequency, like is it like 100 parts weekly or daily or yearly, how many parts are required. Based on that, we are recommending a solution, and we are also incorporating route of like what is the route that is being followed. Is it going from X location to Y location, and how many days it takes, right? So all these factors we are working on it, and in future releases you will definitely see things that you are mentioning. We will incorporate that.
Yes, thank you, Onkar. So, is anyone, any question?
Arman, just as clarification, I think Gautam Kumar had requested for contact. Sir, in your personal chat in the same Zoom thing, we've messaged you the contacts of the person who you can connect with. And we've also shared your contact with the person internally. They will reach out to you soon. Wanted to clarify that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
and we are available pan India. Yes, sir. We work across times pan India. Won't be an issue.
So, is anyone any question? Please come, because the purpose is just a deliberation and discussion that how we can build a community, sustainable community, and take your suggestion. So questions are most welcome. Question from anyone? Shall we conclude this session?
So Avantika is asking something. If we will be
Avantika,
emailing
as far as the deck is concerned, yes, I think you would have filled in the requirements in the form. We'll have a look at it and we'll send it to your email ID depending upon it. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you. Yes, Gautam.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your nice information. Send me the details. I got your number and everything, 100% name. Send me the Excel sheet what you were sharing that demo in that session. Send me the detail. I have to discuss about the logistic team and the dispatch team. Then after we can go further for that sustainable work. Okay.
Sure, Gautamji, we will share the details and
Yes.
associate with you. Looking forward to work with you and build a community, sustainable community. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Avantika ji has one question. Avantika, you can ask your question. Avantika, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Am I
Yeah.
audible?
Please. Yes, you're audible. Please go ahead.
Okay. Just wanted to understand in the initial presentation that you were sharing that the decarbonization tool, like the entire management tool of for decarbonization, promoting circularity in the supply chain that you are offering. What would be some USPs of your particular tool? Just wanted to quickly understand. Uh,
Avantika, I'll take this question from my not here, Sidharth here. It really depends on how we are looking at it from a client-to-client basis. Probably this might not be the right one because the participants are more aligned towards supply chain decarbonization. So what we can do is probably after the call via mail or over a phone, we'll get in contact with you to discuss this if it's fine with you. Yeah, in the interest of the rest of the participants. Hope that is fine with you.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that would be fine. Thank you
Yeah,
for
sure. Thank you so much, Avantika. So we have still 9 minutes left. So any questions, and all questions are welcome. Yes, any question? Let's have a discussion and deliberation. So you can ask any question. No question. Okay, then let me conclude this webinar. And so thank you so much, Sidharth and Onkar, for this valuable insight. And thank you to all of you for joining for us today. So as you have seen this in this webinar, decarbonizing automotive supply chain is both a necessity and an opportunity. With tool that Fitsol is building like Kyoto and our green packaging asset design tool, Fitsol is here to support your journey towards net zero. Let's keep the momentum going and build a cleaner and more sustainable Bharat together and achieve a net zero Bharat before 2070. Thank you so much once again. Have a happy good evening. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you everyone. Happy Diwali.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.